Hello everyone, and this is my I guess you can say this is my backstory on how I got into art and stuff. How I got into drawing and art in general. In terms of how I got into art, my the first time I got into art was when I think it was when I was during my elementary days, where I usually just draw stick figures and stuff and all kinds of art. And I guess I did fan art of SpongeBob and developed my own stick figures as well, along with it. Yeah, I used to do comics all the time along with my sister. And we used to do all comics on these stick figure characters all the time. Well, I think we did fan art Kirby as well. It was Kirby and SpongeBob because we usually did. And we used to do fan art of these characters all the time. And this is before I learned how to actually draw and stuff. Yeah, it was endless like stick figure Kirby, SpongeBob fan art drawings that I used to do all the time with my sister and stuff. We used to do this all for fun all the time. I mean, I technically do art for fun nowadays, but I didn't really start taking my art seriously until I got into my art classes and stuff. So yeah. What inspired me to become an artist was the cartoons I used to watch. Cartoons ranging from, well, since I was a 2000s kid, it was the usual Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon, DC channels that I used to watch all the time as a kid. Well, there were some other kids channels back then, like your usual Kids WB and Foxbox and stuff. I used to watch those as well, but my main priority was mostly Cartoon Network and stuff, Nickelodeon. And Disney Channel. I used to watch all the time. That's what really inspired me to become an artist and stuff. I wanted to make cartoons myself as well. Also, the video games I used to play all the time as well. That's probably why I drew Kirby back then as well. Even though I drew all the time during my elementary days, my art really didn't really look that good back then. It was kind of terrible as usual. It comes to most kids' art and stuff. Yeah. In terms of how I developed my art style, I really didn't start taking drawing classes until my sophomore year in high school. That's when my first drawing classes that I took. Yeah, I learned the simple basics. I learned traditional illustration or oil painting. I used to draw perspective art. I guess I don't exactly remember all the lessons I did, but I do remember the more simple stuff, like the perspective art and traditional illustrations and stuff, like the actual physical activities I used to do in drawings and stuff. I did do a lot of perspective art on drawing because perspective is actually key to learning how to draw and stuff. If you don't know how to draw from memory, you can always just try to draw a picture as hard as you can and try to draw. Or you have a cool memory of a character that you really like, try drawing that character by yourself and see how well you do. And if you don't turn out your first time, turn out good your first time, try drawing it again. Keep practicing every day until you perfect that art and stuff. That's why I always apply for fan art as well, because fan art can be very useful. Not the creepy fan art, like the fishy fan art. Don't draw that, guys. Back to what I was saying about the art classes. I kind of took more art classes than I kind of needed to. I kind of only needed to take one art class, at least one drawing class, once per school year. But I actually took it 2 more times just in case, because it was so much fun. And it's called Drawing 2 and Drawing 3, I think. Yeah, it's basically just drawing stuff. It doesn't teach you all the applications of art, but it teaches you the basic drawing stuff, the art you can see here during my compilation and stuff. And in terms of digital art, I'm more of a traditional artist than a digital artist, because my digital art doesn't look the best, as you can see here through this video. I mean, the digital art does look good, but it doesn't look the best compared to everyone else's art, especially on Newgrounds and stuff on DeviantArt. Because I'm more of a digital artist. I didn't start doing digital art until later on. After I was done in high school, I was able to afford my first digital tablet. It was a Samsung Galaxy tablet that I got. That I used to do digital art on. I had a touchscreen pencil and everything. And for instances, not for instance, If you want to get into digital art, never use touchscreen pens. They're awful. You're better off with your usual S Pen or your stylus pen that you get from your iPad and stuff. You're better off with using that instead. In terms of digital art, I basically learned that by myself. I wasn't taught how to do digital art compared to digital art. Well, traditional art, that's what I meant to say. Yeah, because I learned traditional art first and then I did digital art later on. Yeah. Especially since if you look at my early animations, they're not the best, especially on Karate Bugs. I guess people like that imperfection of Karate Bugs because people are watching the very first episode of Karate Bugs, which I appreciate. Because when I first uploaded that to YouTube, it wasn't getting no love for it whatsoever on YouTube. It turned into like later on when I started uploading more to other websites like Newgrounds and stuff. Yeah. In terms of how I got into digital art, I pretty much had to migrate to digital art because, I had to start expressing my art more often that way, instead of just doing digital art all the time. I mean, I could just take a picture of my digital art and do it that way, but yeah, people are more used to digital art than digital art now. This digital age. That Samsung Galaxy tablet that I had that I mentioned earlier lasted for 6 years. It was a good tablet too. Yeah, it lasted for 6 years until it broke. It's pretty much just these sturdy tablets a lot and stuff. I was able to get a lot of digital art on that tablet until I migrated to a different tablet, literally Samsung Galaxy tablet that way. Yeah. That's how I made my art progress up to this day. I've been pretty much drawing since I pretty much developed my art style early on, as early as 2013. With Drake the Dragon being my earliest character. I mean, there were other characters that I drew. I think it was Kirby Discovery first that I developed first, and then it was Drake the Dragon. Kirby Discovery used to be called Super Sci-Fi. Then I renamed this Kirby Discovery later on. And that's I migrated to comics and stuff. I do want to continue doing digital art, but I'm not sure how long it'll last because this day and age with AI and everything. And speaking of AI. Remember why I said I didn't have a problem with AI? Now I do. Yeah, screw AI. Yeah, especially when what's doing to the industry as a whole. Yeah, especially when you learn about the Studio Ghibli stuff that's happening right now. People put the hard work and energy into digital art, which I can relate because I'm an artist myself. I don't want my art necessarily being stolen in order to profit off of like what's trendy and stuff. Because I don't like that either. What's big and trendy and social media. So this has been my art backstory on how I got into art and stuff. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, man. That's it.